Again, I won't take up too much of your time. I'm sure you are quite busy this morning, what with the terrible tragedy and all." Ms. Tuttle's smooth, gliding stride faltered a bit, and we slowed. She kept her focus on the warehouse ahead, but I could see her face tighten and twist as she searched for a response. When it came, it couldn't have been less informative. "Yes, well, of course. We'll keep the tour short." The Stockton Tools warehouse was exactly what I expected. Loud voices and the high-pitched warning beeps of forklifts echoing off bare industrial walls and ceilings. The endless shelving units were piled high with boxes of tools waiting to be shipped to their destinations. I'd thrown off my sprightly tour guide with my mention of the murder. It seemed she was regretting her tour suggestion. "It's terribly noisy in here," she said loudly, "but as you can see, it's a very impressive warehouse." I let my eyes sweep around once and nodded. "Impressive indeed." She pointed toward a back door. "The loading dock is just through there. We'll take a quick peek around, then I can escort you back to the offices." "Great." I was about to suggest we turn around, but I didn't want to seem disinterested in the inner workings of the company. I figured the longer I stuck around, the better chance I had of stumbling onto something important, and I figured right. Ms. Tuttle opened the door leading to the loading dock. We stepped into another vast brick building, but this one was less noisy because one side was completely open. Large rolling doors had been pushed up, 2 trucks had been backed up to loading docks, and standing near a small kiosk, talking to a man with a clipboard and badge that said supervisor, was none other than Detective Jackson. They were deep in conversation. Ms. Tuttle's phone rang, and she pulled it out of her blazer. She looked at it and grimaced slightly. "I need to take this. I'll be right back." She slipped into a small office so she could hear better. I took advantage of my short stretch of freedom and moved closer to the conversation at the kiosk. Jackson was facing away from me and toward the supervisor. The supervisor looked too concerned with the discussion to notice a strange woman straying through his loading bay. A hammer that looked just like the one Jackson had shown me at the house was sitting on the top counter edge of the kiosk. I moved within hearing range and pretended to be enamored with the 18-wheelers sitting in the bay. Detective Jackson was speaking just loud enough for me to hear. "When I asked the manager of Oakley Hardware about customers who had recently purchased a framing hammer, he was surprised. He said he had just gotten a new shipment of framing hammers from Stockton Tools. There were supposed to be 12 hammers in the box, but he received only 11. He said he called to complain." The supervisor was a stout man with ruddy skin and heavy beard stubble. The Stockton Tools shirt was buttoned tightly across a round belly. He seemed quite thrown off by the conversation. He probably didn't normally spend his Monday morning fielding questions from a police detective. His face darkened with the question, and he reached for a messy pile of thin yellow receipts. He cleared his throat several times as he thumbed through the papers. "As I mentioned, our foreman quit unexpectedly last week, and we've been swamped with work." He didn't look up as he spoke, but continued a frantic search through the paperwork. I took the opportunity to glance toward the office where Ms. Tuttle was still occupied by her call. My focus was pulled back to the kiosk when the supervisor cleared his throat again and said, "Oakley Hardware. Here it is." He smoothed out the semi-crumpled receipt and ran his thick finger along the bottom. "Yes, they called to let us know we shorted the order by 1 framing hammer." The man had dark eyes that were set a bit too close together, which only added to the flummoxed look on his face. "My signature is on the order. I always count everything before it goes out. I don't understand how I could have missed that. There are 12 slots in the carton. An empty slot would have been obvious." "Who else has access to the warehouse?" His rounded shoulders strained the fabric of his tight work shirt. "The warehouse employees and all the higher-ups, of course." Detective Jackson wrote something on his tablet. "One more question." The distinctive beeping sound of a forklift drowned out the conversation enough that Jackson paused. He turned to watch as the forklift rolled past.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.